Looks like we got Facebook and YouTube going here, which is nice. So I guess I got that going for me. Name that movie. Oh, hello. I'm just here talking to myself and the three people that aren't watching on Instagram. So, Travis Lofter here. Welcome to the Human Upgrade Project. I'll get into more about what it's about, obviously, but for this first few minutes, as always, we're just going to go through some really interesting things that will make you smarter before we actually start the show to see if anyone wants to participate in tonight's activities. So, we're going to start with Random Squared. I always start with Random Squared. It's about the first 3 minutes. If you're watching the replay of this and you don't want to listen to Random Squared or listen to some odd factoids, fast forward about 3 minutes and you can skip it. But you won't be any smarter if you do. Just saying. So, tonight, again, I'm going with interesting facts. Is that what I'm calling them? Interesting facts? Yeah. Probably things you never wanted to know, but they're still interesting at the same time. This chair seems really low. So, number one. This one's long. I'm going to have to read this, actually. You guys said you have to look at me from the side of my head. One habit of intelligent humans is being easily annoyed by people around them, but saying nothing in order to avoid a meaningless argument. That's I'm only laughing because I feel pretty intelligent now because I had this conversation the other day with somebody. That's really funny, actually. A little creepy, but funny. Number two, if a polar bear and a grizzly bear mate, their offspring is called a pizzly bear. I wonder if that's actually true. I'm gonna have to. I don't know the validity of where I'm getting my facts from, but it's on the internet, so it's got to be true, right? That's what I'm thinking. Number three. There's only three, so don't worry. I actually read number two first, so I'm going to skip back and go to number one, and you would have never known that if I hadn't said that, but I just did, so it's out there, and I can't take it back. So I hope you're okay with that. Number three, which is actually really number one. The only letters that don't appear on the periodic table are, does anybody know? Do you know? I didn't. J and Q. J and Q are the only letters that don't appear on the periodic table. That's kind of interesting. Not really. That's not really interesting at all. So we'll just pretend number one or number three that I just read, just pretend you didn't hear that, and we'll just move about our day like it never happened. Because that's what I found the best way. Anytime you have a problem, the best way to deal with it is pretend like it doesn't exist. Yeah, every time. 60% of the time, it works every time. And with that said, now is the time for us to begin. Travis Lofter here with the Human Upgrade Project, where we dissect and deconstruct what it takes to be remarkable, to be extraordinary as a human being, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Maybe not all at the same time, because I don't want your head to explode, or mine. That's more what it is about. So in tonight's episode number 38, this is a really good one, so you're going to really want to pay attention, and by the time we're done with this, you are going to be so blown away. That's the only thing I think of. That's the only really adjective I can think of. Is that an adjective? Anyways, episode 38, how to be miserable in 3 simple steps. Steps. They're better than steps. Steps are much better than steps. How to be miserable in three simple steps. and other things that really suck. So, where did this title come from? I like having these little stories about where my titles came from and things. This one actually came from tonight, a conversation I was having with a really good buddy of mine. And it didn't just stem from that. That just kind of made it come out of my head a little bit. Uh, Getting my thoughts together here. I do have some notes. I'm just trying to put them in order so that they're a coherent message that makes sense for you and something that you can get out of it. How to be miserable in three simple steps. It's not hard. The first thing you need to do, well, I'm going to go back to the story. The story is a buddy of mine, and I've had other people mention stuff like this to me before. It was saying that he was dealing with some, he was trying to figure out how to basically achieve some things, and felt like it was like you didn't want to set a bunch of goals and have a bunch of rewards and then do this thing and that thing, and then if this thing happens, that thing has to happen, and then there's all these stipulations behind everything you have to do instead of just doing it, and just kind of on and on and on and on. This guy normally doesn't talk like that, so I just had a frank conversation with him and basically said, dude, this is number one, because I've done this a bazillion times, you're overanalyzing and overcomplicating everything. That's the first step to being miserable. Overanalyze and overcomplicate. It's not that difficult to keep things simple. Things are complicated sometimes, but you can simplify them. Not rocket science. The other thing that he was doing, and I've seen other people do, and I've done myself, is put all this extra meaning on things. Oh, like if I do this, it means that. But if I don't do that, it means this. And then if I do this other thing, it means that the first thing that I was looking at and listening to doesn't count because the third thing is negated by the second. That's overanalyzing or overcomplicating, but it's also putting a bunch of extra meaning on things that it's usually pretty cut and dry when you look at it. You've just been in the forest for so long, all you see are all the trees instead of all of everything else that's around you. You can't see the path that's in front of you because you're busy looking at all the trees. There's so many trees around here. How do I get out? One foot in front of the other. The third thing, this might be short tonight, but I'll probably get to rambling here in a minute, and then things will get really exciting. Oh, and this is a full-on sentence here. Turn everything into something that you have to do instead of something that you get to do. That actually should be just it. That's the number one thing that I put third. I have some bonus things too here. So make everything you do something you have to do instead of something you get to do. If you're watching this, you probably don't have to do anything. None of us have to do anything. You don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to go to work. But you get to. And you get to use the benefits of those actions, whether you like all of them or not. There are benefits to that. And if you don't see them, then I feel bad for you. No, I don't. You just need to change your attitude. That's it. I don't feel bad for you. Dramatic pause. That's what that was. let's look at the bonus tips, and then we'll go back through these, because as I go back through these and recap in this short episode, other ideas will come forth from my gray matter. Bonus tip number 1 on how to be miserable. Don't sleep. Because the less you sleep, the more miserable you can be. But you can do more, right? Yeah, not. So, sleep less, because that will make you definitely more miserable. Cranky too. And pretty much probably just a real douchebag all the way around. I mean, I don't know. Bonus tip number 2. There's only 2. I may think of one off the top of my head, but you only get 2 tonight. Stop having fun. This is another thing I had a conversation with my buddy about, and I've had conversations with this with other people about this too in the past, is stop having fun. I know this very intimately because a couple of years ago when I was training for nationals for powerlifting, where you pick up heavy things, squat, bench, deadlift, rawr. I was training for nationals, and I'll take a step back from that real quick because I like to jump around a lot, and I love training. I love working out, fitness, mental and physical, pushing my mental and physical limits to the nth degree and beyond what people say is possible. And training is part of one of those things, and I've always, my entire life, I've loved it. It's my happy place. It's where I can go and just disconnect from everything. And with that said, a couple of years ago, I absolutely hated it. I hated the thought of even going to the gym to train. And I was training for nationals. I mean, I qualified for nationals. People are supposed to be excited about that, right? Training is not easy. When you're peaking for a meet or you're doing anything at a level at that level, it's not always fun. But geez Louise, this was like, I think it was like a month of just pure, brutal, mind-numbing awfulness every time I went to the gym. Yeah, I was getting stronger. Yeah, I was doing it. Whoop-de-doo. What I discovered one day while I was moping about in the gym. Hey, Kendall, are you still on? If you're still on, let me know real quick. I'm gonna ask questions and stuff later, but let me know if my sound is okay. I might be really hot, but I don't know. So I'm at the gym going, I think I was training 5 days a week. So 5 days a week, I was hating the place that I used to love. And after about a month of that, it hit me. The reason why I hated it is because I wasn't having fun anymore. And that was bonus tip number 2. I wasn't having fun. Typically what I do when I'm at the gym, or a lot of times when I'm doing anything, is I've been able to train myself over the years to turn on and off when I need to. And that's very, very important. I go more into physical activities than in, say, business or whatever, but in physical and mental activities, I can screw off, mess around, and then when it's go time, it's go time. I stop, switch into go mode, and go. And what I would do when I was having fun, because of the fact that you have to rest, or powerlifters do rest a long time in between sets. I mean, 5 minutes is pretty standard, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes, and you're there for hours and hours. I would play. I would screw around. I would do things. Practice ballet. I would juggle. I would balance things on my hand. I would just goof off in between sets. And that was my little disconnect from the training portion of what can be and gets to be at points difficult. So I stopped doing that. And when I realized I was not doing that anymore, then the light bulb went off. Bing, right? So I started playing again. I started screwing around and having fun, because before that I was overanalyzing everything. Am I going at the right time? Am I eating right? Am I sleeping enough? Am I doing this? What if I do this? How about I change that? Why don't I do this? Okay, when I get there, I'll do this. Instead of just doing what I used to do and what I've talked about in previous episodes, is find something you've done in the past that you've done really well. And if you want to do that again, figure out what you were doing before. Don't just try to like start it up again where you left off. Figure out the processes and the procedures and the protocols that you had at that time. So I was doing everything on here, putting extra meaning in everything. Well, maybe it means that maybe I'm mentally fatigued. Blah, blah, blah. There was none of that. It was the fact that I wasn't having fun. So if you take anything away from this, quick recap, and then I'll point out my two favorites, or one favorite that kind of leads to them all. Ways to Be Miserable by Travis Walofka. Overanalyze and overcomplicate everything. That will definitely, that's a good start right there. Read between the lines, and then read between those lines, and between those lines, and between those lines, until you have to have a magnifying glass to read between the lines. Put extra meaning in everything you do. Yeah, that's a fun one, because then you get mentally fatigued on top of everything else. Maybe it means this. Maybe it's because it's a full moon. That's a fun one too, right? The stars are aligned just right. Yeah. It's probably because you're just not doing what you used to do. Turning everything into something that you have to do instead of something that you get to do. Because we don't have to do anything. And if you think you have to do something, then you're probably looking at it incorrectly. That's just the fact. I don't make up the rules. I don't even like rules. You probably should know that by now. Don't sleep. The less sleep you get, the more miserable you will be. And it compounds. So it's even better, because you can just become more miserable on top of being more miserable. And then things will suck even more. So don't forget to not sleep. And stop having fun. And if you say you don't know how to have fun, then just please stop this video now and go not have fun somewhere else. Because I'm pretty sure at some point in everyone's life they've had a fun moment. And if you can't correlate some fun moment in one area of your life into another area of your life, then you're not looking at it from the right perspective. Don't analyze it, don't overanalyze it, and don't read a bunch of extra meaning into it. Just figure out what that fun thing was and wrap stuff around it, like a Christmas present. That's about it. I thought this was going to be short, but holy crap. So, yeah, that's it. Got a couple stories out of it. I got to do, you got to be on here with Instagram. Those of you on YouTube and Facebook. So say hi. Everybody say hi to each other. You know, be friendly. All that good stuff. And I don't think Kindle's on anymore, so nobody came tonight. Maybe I should maybe I should put some extra meaning on that. I don't know if people like me, but I don't care. So on that note, if you like this, please share. Please ask questions. Anything. Ask me anything. Who cuts my hair? Whatever. I'm happy to answer if I can. And by asking questions, one, you might learn something. Two, I might learn something. And three, other people that see this might learn something and might be able to get one step closer to being even more remarkable and extraordinary than they already are, even if they don't know they are. And in closing, as always, Have an amazing day, because it's better than the alternative.